Well, guys, the Barbie movie is here, and everyone has been putting out the reviews and reactions to the movie, and the cultural phenomenon that is the Barbie movie. And I gotta say, before I continue, whoever was in charge of marketing this movie deserves at least half of the pay that this movie receives, because its marketing campaign single-handedly made this movie all the money it has made. Anyways, out of all the reviews on the internet of the Barbie movie, there was one person, one man, one yarmulke, and two of the world's greatest eyebrows. Most of you hate him, but that's okay because his wife's a doctor. I am, of course, talking about everyone's favorite Jew, Ben Shapiro. So Ben Shapiro and his team at the Daily Wire decided to go to the Barbie movie and have Ben write a review on it. And this led to the team writing and producing a 43-minute, basically, roast of the entire Barbie movie. And this one video has had the entire internet crying and screaming over one person's opinion on a movie for kids. What's going on, big dogs? SG Leo here. And today, we're going to take apart both Ben Shapiro's argument and review of the Barbie movie and why it's trash, and why the woke mob is so upset over this review. So sit back, relax, and let's dig into this. So before we really get into this video, I just wanted to set the record straight for everyone wondering. First off, I am a conservative, or identify as such. I am a full access member, or an all access member, as they like to say, over at the Daily Wire, so I'm subscribed fully to their news source. I do enjoy watching Ben Shapiro as well as the other podcasters at the Daily Wire, and I love almost anything that their company produces. Secondly, I have went and seen the Barbie movie. However, with all that in mind, me, unlike most people nowadays, I actually do form my own opinions, and I don't just mirror or repeat or parrot whatever I hear on the internet. I am going into this with no biases, and I actually disagree with a lot of the points that Ben Shapiro, as well as most of the people at the Daily Wire, have to say about this movie. So with all that out of the way, let's begin. So I do have to say I find it super funny how viral this review has actually gotten over the last week or so, and the amount of crazy backlash that Shapiro and his team have gotten for this review. Of course, he wasn't exactly already loved by most of the crazies on the internet, but I just find it funny that when a political commentator, a person who makes money off of politics, makes a review about a movie that, although Twitter and all these other people are saying otherwise, does indeed actually have a decent amount of political innuendos in it and just straight up political stuff in it. And then said political commentator talks about the politics in the movie, people just explode with anger and how we need to now do something about this Shapiro guy. Like, how dare he make a review on this movie and then not like it, because everyone was supposed to love it. This was supposed to be the best movie of the summer. It was supposed to be the best movie ever, according to some people. And this is quite the weird effect. So this has been happening a lot with Hollywood recently, where certain directors or certain actors will perform or produce a movie, and because said producer or said actor or actress is in said movie, you're not allowed to dislike it. So, for instance, the Jordan Peele movies have always been very highly rated, and even the ones that aren't good are always considered good. So, for instance, Get Out. Get Out was a phenomenal movie. I went and watched it several times. I thought it was an absolutely phenomenal movie, even though I don't agree with a lot of the politics in it, or a lot of the underlying politics in it. I thought it was a fantastic movie. It was a good movie. It's not in my top 10 by any means, but a lot of the people when this movie came out started talking about how this is the greatest movie ever created, and then he would make another movie, and then that movie was the greatest movie ever created. And it's just kind of been this never-ending cycle in Hollywood of having these woke actors or woke directors make this woke garbage movies, and then the moment that people call it out, they say, well, it's just a movie. You're not supposed to be paying attention to that. You're just supposed to be paying attention to the movie. How dare you bring up the political aspects behind it? When if you read these reviews, about these movies, like the Barbie movie, you'll often see in them that these same people will talk about how, oh, I was just so happy that they had a woman empowering message in there, or I'm just so happy that they decided to talk back against the white patriarchy in this country, or something along those lines. They really like to shove it in your face until you say something about them shoving it in your face, and then they yell at you for noticing. So it's this never-ending cycle, and they got really mad at Shapiro for noticing a lot of this. That's where I kind of want to come in and say, like I stated, I have went and seen the movie, and although it does have some pretty openly political themes in it at times, I genuinely thought that the Barbie movie was just kind of a dumb, fun movie. It kind of reminded me of like older Will Ferrell movies, which is ironic. Will Ferrell was in this movie. I love Will Ferrell. So that honestly might bias my opinion a little bit because I think Will Ferrell is hilarious. He's one of, if not my favorite actor of all time. Absolutely love Will Ferrell in all of his movies. Like, this movie just felt like an old Will Ferrell movie in the sense that there was just a dumb comedy and it had a fun few good quotable lines in there with just some quick laughs. But let's get into the good stuff here. So Shapiro's review to me was actually not the best, I felt. He did absolutely make it more political than it really needed to be. He was right in saying the movie wasn't exactly structured very well. It was kind of all over the place plot-wise, and the plot itself was pretty easy to understand, and obviously it was just kind of a, we need to make money and blah, 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 so Barbie needs to go back to Barbie world, and then when they realize that we're making money with her not in Barbie world, now she needs to stay out, and then we're not making money anymore, so now she needs to go back. It was kind of just a basic plot. It wasn't anything over the top. And then the main thing that I had issues with was just the inconsistencies with how the Barbies in the movie acted. Like, they would act and function as a Barbie doll. For instance, when they would take off their shoes or something, their feet would still be, pointed down like a Barbie's foot normally is, because otherwise you can't fit the shoes on the doll, for those of you who have never played with a Barbie before. But then at the moment that the plot called for them to not act like Barbies anymore, they just wouldn't. So it was just that kind of just threw me off a little bit. I didn't like that. I really wish the movie would have stuck more with them being dolls while they were in the Barbie world. But again, it wasn't anything that's going to deter me from the movie. It wasn't anything that was going to make me like go, they don't care. Screw this movie. But other than that, honestly, I didn't think the movie was that bad. Now, Shapiro's main point, really in his entire review, was how this movie was marketed and how it was marketed towards like preteens, young girls, and like moms for these young girls. That was kind of how the movie was marketed. But despite it being marketed towards these moms and towards these kids, it did add in quite a few adult-themed jokes, and it definitely did put in some very weird, openly political points in the film. There's a viral speech. You guys can go look it up, because if I put in this video, it will get copyrighted, where the girl in the movie just goes on this tyrant about how the male patriarchy is awful and terrible and how women have it so much worse in this country than men do. Also in his review, he makes it sound like the whole movie is like this, just a major political movie about how men suck and women are oppressed by men, which, again, yes, there are certainly points in the movie where they bring that stuff up, like I just said, but it is such a small portion of the movie that you're kind of going to have to give me more than that to really hate the movie. And not only that, but me as a person, I've gotten very good about filtering out political stuff in movies and shows, because otherwise I'd go insane. Everything nowadays seems to feel that they need to put in their political beliefs in all their movies, shows, merchandise, and everything. So I've honestly just gotten to the point where when I don't want to hear anything about politics, I can pretty easily filter that out. I don't expect Ben Shapiro to filter out politics because, again, that's his job. That's where he makes his money. He's a political commentator, and he's very highly involved in all things political. And of course, that's how he makes and has made all of his money. So I never expect him to not be political. The one thing I have to say about his reviews, Shapiro has started doing quite a bit of movie reviews, and I almost disagree with every single one of his movie reviews because he really digs for political things, in my opinion. The greatest instance I can give is it seems like if two dudes in a movie just lock eyes for a second, maybe they have to count down from 3 to like hoist a girl over the edge and save the day. But that split second where they locked eyes to count down together, that's secretly them being gay, according to Shapiro. I just really feel like he stretches the truth of how political a movie is, because all he thinks about is politics when he's watching these things. Like, this is a guy who's openly stated that he screens everything that his kids are going to watch because he doesn't want them hearing the wrong political beliefs, which, again, is fine in certain circumstances, but I feel like a lot of the times he kind of takes his political beliefs a little too far and kind of can't get away from politics. I feel like he always has to be political about absolutely everything he does. Now, at the time of me making this video, Ben Shapiro's review has over 2 million views. This is where the left has been making their statement about how he's just giving this movie a ton of free publicity and how he's going to make the movie a ton of money. And all of that is complete and utter nonsense. So first and foremost, this movie was and is going to make a good amount of money no matter if he made this review or not. The marketing and the hype behind this movie and behind Oppenheimer were absolute top tier, one of the best marketing campaigns for both films. And like I said at the beginning, both films should be giving half their money to this marketing team because they were phenomenal. Second, when companies or people do things like this, it isn't because Ben was like, hey, let's go watch the Barbie movie, and then if I don't like it, we'll make a review that's 43 minutes long. I'm almost 100% sure, because the Daily Wire hires these people. They hire producers, they hire marketers, they hire, post-production people and all that stuff, because they're a big corporation now. I'm almost 100% sure that Ben's team knew that they should do a review on the Barbie movie because of all the hype behind it. He even stated in the Barbie review that he was also going to do a review on Oppenheimer, which he just did today at the date I'm recording this, August 1st. And that one's nowhere near as popular because that movie isn't as controversial or as back and forth as the Barbie movie is. Not only that, but I'm almost positive that they all knew that this video would get clicks and views. Ben is a very controversial person to everyone on the left, and almost every video Ben and his team put out is kind of supposed to stir the pot a little bit. That's what he does. He stirs the pot a little bit to get his message across, and everybody freaks out when he says certain things because he's not of the correct political opinion on the platforms that he posts stuff. So for instance, Twitter is very left-leaning. A lot of people on Twitter are very left-leaning. So he'll go on Twitter and just say outlandish stuff to upset people on the left. And then when it works, he just sits back and rakes in the money. Like, this is, at the end of the day, these people's job. They make content that will make the company money. Like stated earlier, this video has over 2 million views. And if you add in his sponsorships, advertisements run on that video, advertisements run in his company, and then add in the YouTube money, I am almost 100% positive. I know, actually, because he said so in one of his recent podcasts, that they made off like bandits off of this video.
Many online poked fun at the intensity of his apparent rage, highlighting he went so far as to buy movie tickets and obtain Barbie dolls to burn before he recorded himself protesting it for more than a third of Barbie's runtime. So this is one of my favorite critiques, is where they're like, oh my God, you spent money on the tickets to go see a movie that you reviewed? Yeah. Now let me explain to you how the market works. Do you know how much money we made off of the YouTube video that has now been viewed in excess of 1.2 million times reviewing that movie? I promise you, it's way more than we spent to go buy those Barbies and some matches and a barbecue. I promise you. And then,
if the left doesn't want Ben Shapiro to get clicks and views, the best thing to do is just ignore him. But they won't, and they can't, because all these people who hate Ben Shapiro also get a ton of clicks and views and money whenever they talk about him because of how popular and controversial he can be at times. Everything, at the end of the day, is all about money. Now, before I end the video, I know I kind of already gave my opinion on the film, but I just kind of wanted to give a quick, small review here before we get to the end. Overall, to me, the Barbie movie was not as bad as Shapiro says it is. Is it as great as they hyped it up to be? Absolutely not. It's a very mediocre movie with some decent jokes here and there. It made me laugh a few times, I'm not going to lie. but it definitely wasn't this blockbuster smash hit. The movie's made a ton of money, and that's awesome. Good for them, good for the marketing team. But I just wasn't as blown back by it as apparently everybody else was. I don't think I'll ever actually go out of my way to watch the movie again, but if it happens to be on TV, or if I go over to my friend's house and they just happen to have it on whenever it comes out on streaming services, I'm never going to turn it off or pick something else unless it's like this. It's either watch the Barbie movie or watch Saving Private Ryan. I'm going to pick Saving Private Ryan any day of the week. That's my favorite movie of all time. Like I said, it's not a terrible movie, and other than the weird plot holes and the weird inconsistencies of the doll's actions, and very few minor political speeches they give, which is a very small part of the film, I can't stress that enough, it ain't that bad. Like I said, dumb fun movie that I think most people will get a good chuckle out of. I don't think the movie will see a lot of long-term success just because it isn't as good as it was hyped up to be. But overall, I'd give the movie a solid 6.5 out of 10. But anyways, guys, that is all I've got for you today. If you did enjoy the video, please leave a like, comment down below what you'd like to see me cover next, and subscribe to the channel if you haven't already. Don't forget to go check me out over on all my socials, which will be linked down below. And until next time, guys, Godspeed.
I lost my best friend to 23. She left her body in Harvard about